To celebrate 100 years of Disney, they have released a brand new animated film, Wish. This Disney musical is about wishing. It's in the name. A very key theme of a lot of Disney's history. If you look back at films like Snow White, Cinderella, all of these like classic fairy tales are focused on the idea of wishing. And so it seems like on paper that this is a great idea to dive into for an anniversary. But Wish is really bland. It's a really, really bland film. So today I'm going to give you some unfiltered thoughts. This is going to be a little bit less structured. I'm just going to talk. If I want to in the future, I may do a more structured review, going through the film beat by beat by beat, breaking it down. But this is going to be just like a general thoughts, and I'm just going to throw them out as I think of them. But if you haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Ellie. I talk about theatre. I am the most chaotic theatre person on the internet. I do reviews, I do discussions, I do video essays, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps out the channel. But let's talk about Wish. Now, I want to make it clear from the get-go that this is not the worst film in the history of anything ever. I'm going to criticize it. I'm going to, say why I wasn't really sold on it, but it's fine. It's passable. It's if you put this on for your kids, they probably have a good old time. It's going to shut them up for like 90 minutes, which is great. Like, parents are going to love this. That's perfect. But we know that Disney can do better. Like, we've seen time and time again, Disney make classic after classic after classic, and even make modern films like Encanto, Frozen, that really do capture the imagination and bring the story to wider audiences. But Wish just feels like it had an idea. It had a really great idea, and that idea has been sanded down, and it was sanded down again, and it's been sanded by the sandpaper so much that you're just left with something that doesn't quite look as pretty as it used to be. It's safe. It's very, very safe. It doesn't really feel like it's trying to do anything new. It doesn't really feel like it's pushing out the boat. It just feels like it's kind of harkening back. So, let's talk about the story. This musical follows Asha, who is, I'm pretty sure I got her name right there. She's played by Ariana DeBose, amazing actress, and she performs this role really, really well, who is our protagonist. In this city, the City of Roses, I'm pretty sure it's called. I'm probably going to get things wrong. I'll edit it on screen. This city is ruled by King Magnifico, who has found a way to keep the city safe by taking everyone's wish. He will look after them, he will protect them, but the people of the town will forget their wish, losing a big part of themselves. When Asha finds out about this and finds out that the king will not be granting everyone's wish, she gets really frustrated and really upset, and goes off and wishes on a star, summoning a little cute plush thing. It's like a star. This is going to sell as many toys, and you know what? It's working because I want one right now. I want a plush star right now. It's all surrounding wishes. It's all about Asha trying to release the wishes to everyone so everyone can have at least their wish in their heart, even if they know that that wish is not going to come true. On paper, it's not a bad concept. There's an idea here. There's something that works, but it's so short. It's so by the numbers. It doesn't really feel like it's trying to push the boat out anywhere. And there's a lot of things that feel very forced in. There's a lot of plot details that feel like they've been put in by Disney and like studio execs going, oh, but it's a 100-year anniversary, so we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this. And it feels like all of these ideas have just kind of been thrown in and things have been cut out. It feels like, and I can't confirm it, I feel like this film has really been through a troubling production history. I don't know if it has, but as a viewer, as someone who is watching it, it feels like that's the case. The story it's fine. I think it works for what it is, but it's definitely not anything to write home about. The animation, I think, is mostly good. I think Disney, you're not going to get sloppy animation here. Disney do what Disney got to do. It looks great. It looks nice. There's a lot of really interesting style. I do love the 3D animation, but I feel like there's a lot of really missed opportunities within the animation and within the design of the film. I think with Star, they do a great job. The fairy dust that they throw, I almost called it Disney dust, which is not correct. But I mean, it is Disney dust, but the fairy dust that they throw down is beautiful. The sequence in the forest where all the animals are starting to talk. You get the chicken dance sequence, which also looks absolutely stunning. Like, there are moments here where it looks beautiful. I think one of the places where I really think they could stretch it further is with the villain, with Magnifico, because he becomes corrupted by dark magic a little bit later. And he has this kind of like green glowing energy, which has this beautiful animation style. But I feel like there's moments where he himself could become more corrupted by it. He just kind of gets green eyes, which, I mean, is a striking image, I'll give it that. But could we not have, like, veins popping out? Could we not have his image and his status and his power be more and more corrupted? I feel like there's so much more you could push with that, and push with the idea of being corrupted by such a force that is perfect for something like animation, where you don't need to think of budgets and how you're going to achieve this in live action. That is the beauty of animation that I feel like is a massive missed opportunity here. It's like when we have the sequence later in the film where he sends out these like green, I'm going to call it like vines, because they're almost like vine-like, that entrap the entire town. That looks stunning. That looks amazing. Why can't we take a little bit of that imagery and put it into his design as well? Even if it's just his clothes become corrupted, even a little bit more of him becomes corrupted as we see more and more of him diving into this darker path. I don't know. That's just me. But on the whole, I think the animation is probably the strongest part of this film. It's great. It's great. It looks nice, but there are moments there where I'm like, come on, push the boat further. You could do more with this. There's so much more you can do with this. Let's talk about some of the characters. Asha, I like her. She's a nice protagonist. It's very Disney princess, despite the fact that I don't think she's a Disney princess. I don't think she's going to count into the Disney princess lineup because she's not a royalty. I was fully expecting them to like crown her at the end so that she could be a Disney princess, but I don't think they're going for that, which, I mean, if you want to have a tribute to Disney's history, having her be that is nice. Instead, they kind of go for her being more of the fairy godmother. She gains magic at the end. Her robe and her cloak when she's on the run is very reminiscent of the cloak that the fairy godmother wears in Cinderella. Like, you can see a lot of the references on their sleeves, and we will talk about this a little bit later. But, she's a little one note, but she has a clear message. She has a clear idea. She has a really nice worldview that's really interesting to get into. I think on the whole, she's not a bad protagonist. She's interesting in her own ways, and she has a clear want. That want is very selfless, and I enjoy that for her. Magnifico, I find it very funny that even in the film where Disney is trying to not do a twist villain, they still end up doing a twist villain. Because at the start, Magnifico does this whole thing where he's nice, he's talking to Asha, and then suddenly he kind of snaps. And it's like, oh, well, there you go. You did it again. Go on, Disney. Even when you can't help it, you gotta have your twist villain. Honestly, people have been tearing this character and his song to pieces. I think he's probably the best part of the film. Even if I feel like there's places where they could push it further, especially as I've discussed in the animation. Chris Pine does a great job with this role. And I mean, even the character looks like Chris Pine. He looks a lot like Chris Pine. It's nice. It's really nice to have a villainous villain again. Because Disney has been on this trend very recently, where it's either no villain or there is, a twist villain. Think of your Hans, think of your King Candy. They have been going all in on twist villains. And there becomes a point when if every film has a twist villain, you're kind of just expecting it. So it's nice to finally not have that. And I mean, if you're paying tribute to the earlier Disney films, your villains were clear, your villains were camp. Your villains were camp as tits, and I love that. But I think Chris Pine does a great job with this. He's really intriguing as the villain. He has so many layers to his performance here. He's got that evil. I can't explain it in any other way quickly. He has that evil twinkle behind his eye that really brings you into the villainy. Even if I feel like there are places where it could be pushed further, I feel like the design could match the levels and the slow build-up that Chris Pine performs in this role. And I really like his plot here. He has an ego, and he has this superiority complex that starts to push him further and further and further into his villainy. He's not a great character to start, but he's not the most villainous. It's the challenges and it's the threats that kind of starts to occur towards him that really cements him as an evil force. Ash's friends are quite fun characters. They are very clearly based on the Seven Dwarfs with their personalities. You can draw lines immediately. Again, references. I will come on to that later. You can see how just this film is just completely jam-packed with references. I can't speak about any part of this film without talking about the references. But they're a nice addition. They're cute, nice, okay. They work for the plot a little bit later. I feel like giving them all their own kind of character trait, even if it is directly based on the dwarfs from Snow White, it works. It works, and there's enough to differentiate them as characters that it doesn't feel like they're just copying themselves. So at least there's that. But they're nice characters. I don't really have much to say on them. Valentino, the goat, I kind of like it. It's silly, but talking animals is such a staple of Disney that you're just kind of yeah, I'm gonna go with this. It's is Valentino the best Disney sidekick? Oh, not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. But I think he's fun. I think he has his moments, and he's put in well to the story. He doesn't really feel like a side thing. He doesn't really feel like he doesn't need to be there. He's quite integral in helping the friends get all the wishes out. He does things. He's a nice little presence. It's cutesy. It's Disney. It's gonna make the kids laugh. I'm not swayed either way on it. Okay, now's the time. The references. The references are very, very forced. I think there are places where they work a lot better than some others. For example, I quite like the mushroom saying "we love crazy." The little reference to Frozen. There's a lot of references to Frozen. Just prepare for that. It's very clear they know what their moneymaker was. And if it's even clearer, they've just greenlit Frozen 3 and Frozen 4 before Frozen 3 has come out. So they know what they're doing here. I feel like something like that, an odd line, works a lot better than, Magnifico crushing the wishes of Peter Pan and just completely spelling out, or Mary Poppins, and making a very on-the-nose joke about them. Being oh, this is Peter Pan's wish. It's oh, this person wants to fly and go to a far-off land where they never grow up. Neverland. Oh, this person wants to be a nanny. Gonna pop that one. It's very on the nose. It's a weird one to talk about, because how much do you criticize it for trying to call back on such a massive history? This film had a lot to balance with that. And I feel like that is probably something that made the film struggle a little bit, because it's got so much pressure on it. And again, I feel like that's the reason that this film really feels a bit bland. That it had an idea, and then you put on it's the anniversary film, and you put a little bit more pressure on it. Okay, so you've got to balance that. So we've got to make it really good. We got to make sure that this caters to everyone and make sure that this is the big celebration. This is everything it's going to be. Oh, we need to put references in there. We need to make sure that somebody is 100 because Disney is 100, and we need to do this and we need to do that. And eventually, I feel like the film just kind of breaks a little bit because of that, even though there is a good idea underneath it all. I feel like the references that work better are the little callbacks, the subtle things, like when they all jump off and you have one of the friends do the Tarzan call. Like little things like that, which don't really feel like they're really pushing the script in one direction to get the reference in, work a lot better. And honestly, these are the ones that feel more fun. Not every reference needs to be. Do you understand that? That's the Frozen reference. Did you like Frozen? We made Frozen. That was us. 100 years. Buy tickets to Disney World. People love Disney. People recognize things. It's like Pixar. Pixar do an amazing job at this, hiding things in the background. They will celebrate their upcoming films and their previous films in little references behind. You have like the classroom number A113, which is plastered all over Pixar and all over Disney and any like animation studio because of how iconic that classroom is. You have like the little hints to the next film that you won't quite understand until you actually get to watching that next film. These things don't feel like the entire plot is being pushed into making the thing a reference, but are a nice additional thing that if you spot, make the film feel more lived in. It makes the film feel like there is an entire team of people working on this. Is it the thing that I feel like breaks the film? No. But there is a point where like you'll just go, oh, there you go. They're referencing Frozen again. Oh, yep, that deer's called Bambi. Yep, all right. It's not something that I feel like is the biggest criticism, but I feel like it's another pressure point on this creative team that have to really push things in a certain direction to get all of these references in. And finally, let's talk about the music. The music, I feel, is the thing that has been torn apart the most on the internet. I feel like with the story, it's bland. It's bland. It's a bit bland. It's probably one of my least favorite Disney scores out of this modern era. People have said on the internet that this is because they got a pop artist in. And no, look, we know that pop artists can make good musicals. I mean, Elton John wrote the music for Lion King. He's a pop artist. He's still a musician, but he's a pop artist. That's what he is mostly known for. And he came in and he wrote the music to Lion King. He came in, he smashed Lion King. Lion King has one of the strongest Disney scores ever. That's Elton John. You have, if we're going to go into musical theatre itself, Waitress. Waitress is one of my favourite musicals. I adore Waitress. That is written by Sarah Bareilles. That was her first musical. She is more known as a singer-songwriter, as a pop artist. I don't think this is the reason that this score struggles. I just don't know whether this was the strongest decision for an anniversary film. In a film that feels like it's trying to call back so much to Disney's past, it feels very weird to have a very modern poppy score. Because the style of the musical, I wouldn't call it musical theatre. I wouldn't even call it Disney. It doesn't really have that sound to it. Even in past couple of years with Lin-Manuel Miranda, Moana and Encanto both have moments that feel very Lin-Manuel Miranda. They both have moments where they go into the faster rapping, they go into like Lin's classic style, but they still feel Disney. This doesn't. The I Want song is probably the best out of the score. It has a nice message. Some of the lyrics are a little bit Yeah, but there are some really weak songs here, if I'm being honest. My least favorite, What I Know Now, which is the kind of inspiration song. It's the one where they're raising the troops, they're gonna fight back against Magnifico, but it doesn't feel like the style of the song matches the mood of the scene. Later on it works, but there's kind of this beat that starts it off that doesn't really match what's just happened. It kind of comes out left field and feels a bit jarring because of that. But I will say that animation-wise, this scene is great. Like, this is probably one of the best animated sequences in the film. The villain song is one of the ones that has been completely smashed apart on the internet. I don't hate it. I don't know if I'm going to get screamed at for that, but I don't hate the villain song. I don't think it's the best villain song by a long mile, and I am thinking I'm going to do 2 videos. I'm going to rank every single I Want song in Disney history and every single villain song in Disney history. I'm going to do those as 2 separate videos. I've already started ranking the I Want songs. That's going to be a video that's coming later this week or next week, depending on when I can film. But there's so much about this character that I like, and I feel like this song does do one thing really well. It captures the mood and the vibe of Magnifico perfectly. It does what it needs to do. Like, he is egotistical. He is completely up his own alley. He is vain. He believes that he is doing the right thing. And when he is challenged, he is pissed off. And that's what this song does amazingly well. Even if musically it's not like something I love, you know. I still can enjoy it for the fact that I feel like it does what it needs to do plot-wise, but I do understand people not loving this song that much. I don't really think there's a song in here that really stands out as the song. This Wish, I think it's called, is probably the strongest out of the entire score. But I feel like it was a strange idea to go with these artists in a anniversary film. Even if I don't dislike their work, I just feel like it's a little bit too poppy and a little bit too modern, I guess is the word for me personally. When we're talking about this, it's very, when I was watching it, it's very Greatest Showman. I had very similar problems with Greatest Showman because it felt like it was trying to do a very, 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 very poppy music video score. Like, I feel like you can hold up Rewrite the Stars and the music in this film, and they're very similar. They're very similar styles. So if you enjoy the music of The Greatest Showman, I feel like you may enjoy this one a lot more than I did personally. I don't think the score is as bad as people are saying it is, but in a film that is constantly harkening back to classic Disney films, constantly reminding you of films that you enjoyed, you're going to end up comparing it a lot more. And that is, I feel like, the biggest disservice that Wish makes. Because it is constantly telling you about films you enjoyed more, you are going to remember how much better those were than this. This feels like a bit of a compromised film. It feels like one that has had a troubled history. It feels like there was really great ideas here. It's a great idea on paper, but it just doesn't explore it, and it doesn't explore a lot of these really interesting things as much as it could. I didn't hate Wish. I think the key word to use is fine. Wish is a fine film. If you want a fine film, if you want to put something on in the background or you want to please your kids, Wish will do fine for you. But if you want something with more meat on the bones, maybe watch one of the 100 films that this film references. But what do you think? I'm really interested in your opinion on this one, especially because normally I'm talking about like musicals that not everyone gets to see because they're not in the right place in the country. But this is pretty open. You can go see Wish. So let me know your thoughts. Did you enjoy Wish? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Did you hate Wish? Because I've kind of picked the fence. So let me know your thoughts. Which side of the fence are you on? Are you with me on the fence? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps the channel. Here's some links to my videos on screen right now, and a link to my Instagram if you want to drop me a follow over there. But that's it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!